Well, I just want to begin by welcoming everyone today to the COVID-19 student information session here. Apologize, we had just a few snafus first time out of the gate, but we're glad that you are here and watching this afternoon. So we have with us members of our leadership team, and so I thought we could just go around the room, the virtual room here, and have everyone say hi. If we could start with Bruce Schultz.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bruce Schultz, the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs. It's good to be with you.
I'll go next. Oh, go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm John Stalby. I'm the interim provost.
And I'm Beverly Shuford, Vice Chancellor Administrative Services, and great to be here today.
I think we also have Susan Kalina on the line as well.
Yeah, this is Susan Kalina, Vice Provost for Academic Affairs, here to support the Provost in his responses. Thank you.
Thank you to all of you who are participating today. So I thought we could start first of all with Vice Chancellor Schultz. And so we have had some questions related to housing and dining. And so one of those questions has to do with meal plans and whether or not there'll be reimbursements. And I wondered if you could perhaps speak broadly to the reimbursements that are being offered.
Sure, thank you, Kirsten. Yes, we made that tough decision of having to close down our residential community and having residents move out by March 17th. And I'm pleased to report that for the most part, that has occurred. We have about 120 students who are left on campus, and we believe by the end of the week, we'll be down to about 80. And for those who are leaving the residence halls, we are prorating their housing costs as well as their meal plan costs based on the date that they've left the residential community. And so the housing office is currently working on that right now, and that funding should be returned to their student accounts within the next couple of days. They're working on that right now. So if students do have any questions about what the status of their refund or if that was processed, they're welcome to call the housing office at 751-7202.
And could you also address how housing exemptions have been handled for students who are still here right now?
Certainly. So, of course, one of the significant issues that we're concerned about is the safety of our students. And we know that with COVID-19, transmission is a real issue and a real concern for us. And high density housing such as UAA's residence halls is not the place where we want students to be. It's not a safe place to be when you are fighting a transmission of a virus like that because of the close quarters. So we've had to reduce the number of students living in our residence halls to avoid that potential spread of COVID-19. The President Johnson, when he sent out his communication, I believe it was March 12th, announcing that our residential community would be closing down, we've asked students to return to if they were at home, to stay at home, or if they had other alternative housing, to take advantage of that other alternative housing. There were a couple criteria by which the administration could make an exception for students to stay on campus. As I shared previously, we've made a few of those exceptions. We have situations where students are unable to return to their permanent residence for various reasons. So we've taken that into consideration. Right now, it looks like we have 7 students who are staying with us in the residence halls because they do have an on-campus class or a lab that is continuing. And so they need access to campus community for that, and there's no other place for them to go. We also know that international students, many of those international students are unable to return to their home countries because of COVID-19, and so we are making exceptions for the international students. And then finally, there's a few students who, when we weigh all things together, it was actually safer for them to be in our residential community than it was for them to return home because of where their home might be and the risk for COVID-19 and community spread that's occurring in their home community. So we've made a few of those exceptions as well. But I think the most important point is that high density housing is not where any individual should be right now. If we have an option to mitigate that, that's what we want them to do.
And Vice Chancellor Schultz, one thing that has been asked with regard to high density housing is that there will be some consolidation of some students into like one building. Can you address just how, can you address any concerns about that related to high density housing and how we're managing consolidation in light of that?
Sure, sure. So when we made the exceptions for students to remain, we inform those students that while an exception is being granted for them, it is likely that some of them will have to relocate to other rooms and other facilities. And the reason for that is, if you can imagine, we have a fairly large footprint for our facilities, and we are on very low staffing right now. And so we have only one resident advisor that is able to do rounds, and for a resident advisor to do rounds over 20 facilities, some of those, with multiple floors, they would never end up, they'd never stop doing rounds. It's just not practical for us to be able to provide the level of safety and security checks for our residents. And so consolidating students into a smaller footprint is what we're going to do right now. The other benefit of us consolidating is that we also have the responsibility to support statewide needs for emergency beds for medical purposes. In the events that our hospitals are overwhelmed, we want to make sure that we're prepared to assist them with some of our housing if it's needed.
Thank you. Two more questions for you, and then we'll move into the academics area. But one thing that has been asked by students is just trying to understand how their student employment will be affected in the event they have to self-quarantine. Could you address this?
Sure. Yes, many students who have on-campus jobs are going to be impacted. Generally, student employees do not work from home. It's just the nature of the position, and what they do for the university isn't something that can be done from home. And so student employees who have questions about their working hours should really discuss those questions with their supervisor, and if they have concerns with their supervisor. And I know that the loss of hours means the loss of income for students, and they're counting on that income for living in academic expenses. And so I would just want to mention that UAA does have a student emergency fund managed by the Dean of Students Office. And if students find themselves in a dire financial situation, they should contact Financial Aid Office for a reevaluation of their aid, and then the Dean of Students Office to see if the COVID-19 Student Emergency Fund is an option to meet their emergency needs as well. So we will do everything we can that's to mitigate or diminish the impact on our student employees, but it is a reality that we're not able to continue to pay students for their positions during this time.
Thank you. And then finally, if you could just speak to commencement and what we know so far about commencement.
Certainly there are many, how should I say, the COVID-19 and responding safe put us in the position of needing to cancel the May 2nd and 3rd commencement ceremonies. It's just another example of how we've had to drastically adjust to a world of social distancing, but in the best interest of safety for our students and their families and our faculty and staff, we've had to cancel those ceremonies. We know, though, that it's important to celebrate commencement. It's something that our students have worked very, very hard for, and it's really unfortunate that we've had to make that difficult decision. We're currently reaching out to students and conducting a survey and asking them what alternatives to the May ceremony that they're most willing to participate in, if any. So we expect that the commencement committee will take a look at the survey responses and make a recommendation to the Chancellor Sandine about spring commencement in the next week or two, as far as should we pursue an alternative option for the May 2nd and 3rd ceremony. So more information will be following.
Thank you. So I thought we could transition over into the academics area right now. And so this is for Provost Stalvey and Vice Provost Kalina. The first question is, will the university extend the end of the semester to meet the week-long spring break extension? Which,
Kirsten, is a great follow-up question to the question you just asked about commencement, because it's about the end of the semester. No, we will not. Turns out that there are some really important unintended consequences for students, particularly with regard to federally backed financial aid, and some other considerations as well. Rather, we're focusing on meeting the student learning outcomes and in the time that we have remaining. So that's really the focus of the way our faculty have changed their courses in order to be able to do that.
Thank you, Provost Stalvey. And in follow-up to that, another question that has been asked is, because spring break was extended for a week, how does that affect the withdraw deadline? And if a student has to withdraw, will it be marked the same as a regular withdraw?
Right, good. Actually, it's not because of the extension of the week, but all three of the provosts from the different universities, UAA, UAS, and UAF, all discussed this, and we came down with a decision that it would be a good idea to extend the withdrawal deadline to April 10th. The main reason for doing this is we give students an extra time to adjust to the alternate delivery method, because we know that it's new for a lot of our faculty and it's new for a lot of our students as well. And so we wanted to be able to give people time to be able to engage with the new approach fully, and then be able to make a much better informed decision about whether or not to withdraw or to stick with the course. So no, yes, we did extend the deadline to April 10th. And then also the second question was about whether this was any different from a normal withdrawal, and the answer to that one is no. There'll be a W, and that what we do want to note, we did consider doing a WC for Corona, but then we decided that I think that most people in the United States, most grad schools, et cetera, that might be looking at your transcript, understand that the spring of 2020 was a very different year, and will probably decide that the W is associated with that, with the virus.
Okay, thank you for that, Provost Stalvey. And the next question is it possible to make classes pass-fail for this semester or make changes to finals?
Right. That's a really good question. And that's actually a question that has been discussed around the country. Various universities have talked about doing this. We have an option in the UA system. And again, this is something that we talked about among the three provosts and also the vice president for academic affairs for the entire system. And a better option is what's called credit, no credit. And I believe that students should have a letter that I sent yesterday and an email. And what how this works is the faculty member will provide a letter grade, and then the student can make the decision by April 27th, which is the last day of classes. They can make the decision to say, well, this might negatively impact my GPA in a way that I don't want it to. So I might choose to select this course as a credit, no credit. Whereas with a pass-fail, it's not a matter of the student getting to choose. Everybody either does pass or fail, or so this gives the student the option. And the good thing about that is because a credit is given for anybody earning a C or above, then that course can be counted toward your major in an automatic way. However, the one sort of drawback to that one is that unfortunately, we can't have it. It'll satisfy a prerequisite, but our system won't recognize it automatically. So if you did choose a credit, to take a credit for the course, then you'd have to contact an advisor or the faculty that's offering the course for which the credit course is a prerequisite in order to register for that course. That would be one of the things that you have to consider when you're deciding whether or not to do credit or a letter grade. Another one is, and this is kind of an interesting one, is that because a no credit is a D, you actually might be better off taking the D, the letter grade, than no credit, because no credit does not, you get no credit toward having passed a course. So again, I really encourage you, if you're going to make this kind of decision, to go and talk with your advisor and talk with the faculty member of the course. I'm trying to think, the other one was making change to finals. In terms of, we haven't, since we're not going to extend the semester, finals periods will be in the same period of time. Now, an individual faculty member may be making changes in the way they offer the final or do the finals, and they may switch to something other than a final, although they may have had a final in the syllabus, they might switch it to something else. The other thing that we're doing is helping faculty figure out different ways in which they can offer proctored exams. The Blackboard does offer an option that allows faculty to time the questions, but there's some other technology that I'm not as familiar with, I gotta admit, but that our CAFE and AI&E folks are working on with the faculty to try and address how we're gonna offer exams.
Thank you. So to summarize then, you have an option to request credit or no credit.
Right.
Students can pursue that option through the last day of classes, which is April 27th. And they really need to talk to an advisor about whether or not that's the best option for them. And as far as finals go, faculty may deliver those slightly differently this year, but there's no change to the schedule for finals.
Correct.
Okay, great. Shall we move on to the next one? Next question here?
Sure. Susan, do you have anything to add on that?
Nope, that was great.
Okay, sure, let's go.
All right, so next question. Will face-to-face courses that have transitioned being online move back to face-to-face later on in the semester?
That's highly unlikely that we'll be in any different situation by the end of the semester. I think one of the reasons that we decided to postpone or not have commencement in May is because we were not confident that things really would be different. And so we're not counting on that happening. In fact, the university decided, UAA has decided that we will extend alternate delivery and online delivery into the summer so that we'll be exclusively taught, courses in the summer session will be exclusively taught either online or by alternate delivery mode, which we're using right now.
So since you've brought up the topic of summer courses, students are wondering, should they register for summer and fall courses?
Absolutely. Yes, we're going forward. It's a little differently than we would normally do, but these aren't normal times. So, but you should go ahead and register for summer classes and keep making progress towards your degree and or certificate. We'll still be offering the courses students need to complete their degrees. In fact, we'll be trying to make sure that we do help to make sure we offer courses that will help people work their way through their degree programs. The best thing in the world to do is keep moving forward, work with your advisor, talk with your advisors, and also work with your faculty member as well. Please know that our advisors are also working virtually and are ready to assist.
Great. Yeah, it's great that everything has shifted here virtually and that advisors are available virtually as well.
Right. And I was going to say, and as it took us a little while to figure out how to get this session going, sometimes your faculty and your advisors might also have a little problem getting things going. So please be patient with us. we may not be as technically savvy as our students.
Yes, but I think that we are moving into technical savviness with this opportunity with COVID-19 here. So the next question, Provost Stalvey, is a student asks, I have concerns about moving to an online version of my course, and I do not feel comfortable taking it online. If I withdraw from this course, will I lose my scholarships that mandate I need to maintain 12 credits per semester?
Ooh, well, let me first address the online version or the alternate delivery mode, and not feeling comfortable with it. I think partly because we're all trying to feel our way through this, and as I mentioned earlier, we are extending the withdrawal deadline, understanding that people might have a little bit of difficulty transitioning. So I would really encourage you to talk to your instructor and give it a try. And again, if it doesn't work out by the extended deadline, then you can withdraw there. I would not do it until you've given it a good try. I think lots of our instructors are teaching on Zoom, and from what I've heard, for the few students that I've heard from, is that they say it's really not all that different from class. But that's just what I've heard. I hope the students are experiencing that. Again, as I just pointed out, we're sort of going through this for the first time, and maybe all of us need a little bit of time to try and figure things out. And I know our faculty know that our students are just going through this for the first time, and are also willing to be flexible and work with students, so that if a student feels a little bit uncomfortable about this learning mode, please contact the instructor, because I've worked at a couple places, and our instructors are perhaps the most caring bunch that I've ever worked with. And so I think that they are willing to work with you. There are also, some really good student support resources. And actually, I'm going to let Susan talk about that a little bit, if she will, because she's helped to work getting this information up on our website.
Sure. I think for students, one of the best places to check is go to the Student Success website, and that will get you to different resources, and it provides a guide for students to those resources, and also some tips on this transition and how to best get through it. Two places for sure that you have access to for help. If you're experiencing challenges using some of the new technologies and you're really wanting to understand how to use them better, like Blackboard, for example, I would go to the Learning Commons, and the academic coaches there. They're trained to actually help students with using in the best and most effective ways the new alternate means of education that we're providing right now. And the other is, if you're having challenges with your equipment, your technology, internet, you can get some guidance from our IT services help desk. So those are the two main places that I would suggest students turn first. Again, the Student Success website will provide you the greatest breadth of what's available to you.
And if I could just add, probably the easiest way for students to get to that is just, if you go to Google Student Success UAA, it came right to the top of my search. So
great, thank you
into the search bar for Google.
Thank you for looking at that. That's great. That's good. That's good to know. I have to click my way through it, but it's good to know there's a quick way. And actually, I think there was something about the loss of scholarship. Could you repeat that aspect?
Sure. The question was asked, if I withdraw from this course, will I lose my scholarships that mandate I need to maintain 12 credits per semester?
If you are in 15 credit hours, probably not. But if you are in 12 credit hours, it might. But if you do decide to withdraw, I encourage you to contact your advisor, but also the financial aid office, to find out what those implications are. I don't know the specifics of a given scholarship. And I think the financial aid office is a much better place to find out that sort of information. The other thing that you can do is if you really are thinking about withdrawing, I think it would be a good idea to talk with your advisor and maybe see if you're far enough along in the course to ask for an incomplete. And then when things maybe normalize, go ahead and finish out the course.
Provost Dalby, I noticed Vice Chancellor Schultz has unmuted. Did you have something to add, Vice Chancellor Schultz?
Sure. I think it's important to keep in mind that the decision about going to credit, no credit as a grading basis is about how you're going to have a grade recorded on your transcript. It does not affect the fact that you are, whether or not you're registered in the course. You're still registered in the course. If it was a 3-credit course, you're still in a 3-credit course. If you were enrolled in 15 credits before, you're still going to be enrolled in 15 credits when you make the grading change. And so most of those requirements about scholarships and eligibility for scholarships won't be impacted by making a decision to switch to a credit, no credit option.
But a W might.
Now, right. Now that there could be some consequences going forward in future semesters that you can talk with your financial aid office about.
Thank you for that information. That's really helpful. I'm going to shift over into the next question. I think we've covered some of this already, but I'd like to open up the opportunity to add more regarding resources for additional support for students who might be struggling with alternate delivery. Are there is there any other information you'd like to add?
No, I think Susan, Vice Provost Kalina covered that really nicely, and it really is the learning commons, being able to continue offering tutoring and academic coaching online, and that also we still some of the courses have peer learning assistants and teaching assistants that are still also resources, and again, those folks can be reached online. And then finally, if you are having trouble with IT equipment or internet access, then reaching out to the IT help desk is a good place to start. So pretty much what Vice Provost Kalina covered. Susan, anything else?
Yeah, well, I would just add, and maybe Vice Chancellor Schultz can speak to this, that students might be experiencing other kinds of challenges. For example, this might be an anxious time for them, or they're trying to balance even more than they were before with home and work and dependence. So there are other kinds of resources on campus to help with those sorts of challenges.
Sure, thank you, Susan. Absolutely important for us to remember that even though students are off campus and participating in their courses through alternative delivery, we still have the full suite of support services available for our students. That ranges from support through Native Student Services, the Multicultural Center, the Department of Residence Life, student engagement opportunities through Student Life and Leadership, and then most important at this time, for students who have concerns about their physical or mental health, the Student Health and Counseling Center is open. It will continue to be open. And even on the counseling side, we are now doing counseling sessions for students via Zoom. So we are fully in the 21st century and supporting students.
And it also, I think our faculty realize this, that our students are coping with challenges of maybe having someone sick at home, having children home that are not in school, and realize that because they have many of the same kinds of challenges. And so again, people are being quite understanding. And I think my advice is to reach out also to your instructor if you feel like you're having challenges with the delivery method.
Thank you to all of you for those responses and the information about resources. The final question, at least for now, within the academics segment is, will testing centers be open for students needing to take proctored computer exams?
Right, yeah. what we've decided at this point in time is for courses that were originally distance courses and using proctored exams, RP Now is an example. UAA will honor access to the GHH, the Gordon Hartley Hall 103 testing center for students who lack the necessary equipment. We are investigating being able to have the RP Now remotely accessible, but there are not only IT issues, but also issues with the company that offers the RP Now that we have to work through. But right now, for the courses that were originally distance courses and using RP Now, the AA and offering proctored exams as part of the agreement, UAA will honor access to the testing center in Gordon Hartley.
Thank you, Provost Dalby. We're going to transition over to Vice Chancellor Schultz and just ask some questions that students have related to technology and campus services fees. So Vice Chancellor Schultz, one of the first questions up has to do with technology. And I wondered if you could respond to the accommodations, if the university has any accommodations for students who don't have internet access at home and who cannot get internet service at their residence.
Hi, Kirsten. I'm sorry, was that a comment I needed to hear?
No, it said the recording had stopped.
It wasn't, but we're gonna just
Keep moving. Okay.
we're gonna keep recording here.
Great. If you go to the UAA FAQs, it also talks more about the parking refunds. That is optional or open for students and for employees. We realize if you're not on campus anymore, it's a service that you're not receiving. So again, we're substantially through the semester as far as parking is concerned. So it is on a scalable refund schedule, but it's the one we always have if you need to pull out for any reason and get your parking permit refunded if you're not going to be on campus. It's available. There will be a form up there. I have not looked in the last 30 minutes, but they're working out that and it'll be done one by one. So it'll take a little time because it's got to go through the method in which you paid for it. We have to refund it that way. It's just kind of making sure we do it right.
And Beverly, I think one of the things that you've pointed out in some other arenas and conversations is that a lot of the money for parking, at least during the winter or our spring semester, goes to snow clearance, et cetera, which a large portion of that already has occurred.
Correct. And we will still be enforcing things like fire lanes, making sure the campus is still safe. So parking services, even though it appears we're not there, we are there. So there's lots of things still happening on campus.
So another question that has come up has to do with mail services on campus and if the mail center is still open. Could you address what mail delivery looks like on campus right now?
Right. Like our other buildings, it's restricted access right now. So if you need in, there's a phone number on the door. Our GSS services are delivering mail throughout the campus right now to departments. However, it is evolving as with everything. And we're making sure that departments that need mail can get it. So heads up, if you're a department, if you're a student and needing in that area, then there is a phone number on the building for restricted access.
Thank you. And another question has to do with the library and people wondering, will the library continue to be open? So this, of course, is the UAA APU Consortium Library.
Right. Thanks for asking that. The library does remain open, restricted access. However, it's only open for UAA community. So you have to have a Wolf card or a card to get in. Virtual reference assistance available as well. The library has limited hours right now, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, 10 to 5, Saturdays and Sundays. the reason why we're doing this is our university students need help and support. It offers high-speed access. If a student needs a laptop, there's laptops to check out, headphones. But again, we're making sure they're in spaces that permit social distancing. They're also following CDC-approved cleaning and health protocols. So as you know, most of the library staff are also working from home. So it's a very limited access. It's also very safe, social distancing, very, very controlled environment. So, but our students do need that resource. So the library is closed to the general public.
Right, so any faculty, staff, or student with their Wolf card can get in. And yeah, this has been a question we've been asked a lot. And I think also an important thing to note is just the open lab space. We do have students who may not have access to computers at home or internet access at home, although we do have some opportunities for internet access, as you mentioned earlier, with MTA, GCI, and ACS. But this gives students a resource. So thank you for that. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Vice Chancellor Schultz? That was the last question that I had for you.
Can I jump in
I'm
on
sorry,
that?
Vice Chancellor Schubert. I have two of you that start with an S. I'm sorry.
I do have one more thing about internet access. We do have students we recognize that may be outside of areas that are provided for in those vendor contracts. Please contact us, call the IT help desk. We are working through some other one-off solutions, but those are unique for those unique places we have in Alaska.
Sure. Thank you. I just wanted to open it up. I see Vice Provost, or I see Provost Stalby here. Let's switch over to you.
Actually, getting back to the library, just briefly, the dean of the library emailed the chancellor and myself yesterday that they're actually going to be extending the student-only access to the library at least until May 3rd. If for some miracle COVID-19 resolves itself sooner than that, obviously they'll open it back up to the public. But right now, they've already extended from the original deadline or the original closure to the public of March 31st. They've extended it now out to May 3rd. So again, we're trying to keep our students safe and the folks that have to use the library safe. And so I just wanted to let you know that as well.
Thank you. So I just want to open it up before we close. We are closing out a little bit early here, but is there anything else anyone would like to add before we do so?
I would like to thank the students for sticking with us and giving this a chance to help you continue and finish up your semester. Please, if you are running into issues, talk with your instructor, contact your advisor, contact IT, etc.
Vice Chancellor Schultz?
And Kirsten, I'll simply echo what Provost Stalway had indicated. The best way for us to be able to help students is when they let us know that they're experiencing a challenge or have a question, and we can put all of our resources together to help resolve that with them. So reach out and let us know how you're doing.
Thank you.
We like to hear it's going well also, so that's good.
Yeah, thank you. And we do thank our students for their flexibility and our faculty for all the work they've done to transition their courses over. Just want to, again, repeat a couple of resources. So if you need to call the help desk, 786-4646 is the IT help desk. The University of Alaska has a website that's devoted entirely to this issue of coronavirus and COVID-19. That website is alaska.edu/coronavirus19. And you can get to that actually from our homepage, which is uaa.alaska.edu. In fact, I want to call out that there are resources on our homepage for faculty and for students. So that's a good gateway for you to access those resources. I know we're finishing a little bit early today. We are planning to offer another session tomorrow, same time, noon to 1. So look forward to answering some more questions, and you can submit those questions via the online form that right now is part of a green and gold post for student online sessions. That should have appeared, students, in your Seawolf students email yesterday morning. You should see that post and be able to access it and to see the links available to you there. So we do hope you submit more questions. And with that, I think I will go ahead and close out this session. Thank you to all of you for your participation, and we're looking forward to continuing to have a good semester, an interesting semester, but opportunity for us all to exercise some flexibility and grace to each other. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.